wanted to talk to you a little bit more about epilepsy, like some of my previous videos, but today I wanted to talk to you about epilepsy and fitness, really. Been quite a bit of a buzz about the recent programme on BBC Three called Epilepsy and Me, and after reading all the tweets and getting involved with the conversations, I noticed that a lot of people hadn't really realised how complex epilepsy was and looking into the different kinds, really. So I thought, you know, I started doing my epilepsy videos a while ago and thought, well, maybe I should carry on a little bit more and spread the word a little bit. Also, for us that do have epilepsy, to sort of engage with each other and chat about what happens so we don't feel alone. That was pretty much the reason I started doing my videos. Epilepsy and fitness. To tell you my background, you can watch one of my other videos, but to give you a very, very brief overview, I have complex partial seizures, although my neurologist now thinks they've gone into simple partial seizures. And they don't happen that often, every so often, random, hardly at all, which is I'm blessed with, but I was having them perhaps up to 5 a day at one point, which was crazy. With that in mind, I took it upon myself to be a bit more healthy, a bit more watch what I eat, as in eat the right things, so nothing that would potentially upset my system, so the eyes of my body is a temple, and start being a bit more active. So before I was diagnosed, I took part in different running races. So I did like a 10k, I've done like 2 half marathons, and now I'm at a point where for some stupid reason I've said yes to doing the Berlin Marathon in September, which is just mind-blowing really, to be honest, because goodness knows how I'm going to get around it, but you know, got to try these things. So when I was thinking about it the other day, and I had a bit of a bad day with where epilepsy is concerned, I went a bit blank a few times and I felt very confused and not very well. You know in yourself when things aren't quite right, and it made me remember, well, made me like think back to when I was doing this one of my half marathons, and I had a seizure halfway round. It happened on 2 different races. This happened. I think it was the first one was Nike Run to the Beat in September 2010. This is before I was diagnosed, because I was only diagnosed 2012-13, and so I was having these seizures without knowing, as you'll discover in one of my other videos, and basically I remember there was a long stretch, I think it was Greenwich Park, as my husband has now told me. Husband, I just got married. And there was a long stretch of pavement, and I remember running up it and I was thinking, I don't feel so good here. And there's a bit of a blur, but all I remember is being sat down next to a bin. There was quite a few people asked if I was alright, and I don't think I could communicate with them, but I remember waving them off and trying to do heavy breathing, so I think they just left me to it. But that completely confused me afterwards. I felt very disorientated while I was running, or trying to run at that point, because my legs felt like jelly. And it takes about 40 minutes to an hour to sort of, oh goodness, and I'm back, I'm feeling fine again, you know, come out of this like epilepsy bubble that happens. So anyway, that happened, and it completely sort of shocked me. I was thinking, oh, I don't really like this. But anyway, carried on, just thought maybe it just had like a panic attack or something. And I took part in the Cambridge half marathon after that, and I was actually running with my husband. Feels weird to say that, but running with my husband, and he was with me obviously the whole time, and I had another episode, and I was like sort of whacked him on the back, and I remember sort of slowing down behind him and just sort of doing this, and he said all I was doing was just going oh, and was just really confused. So it kind of put me off doing any running for a while, and various different things would happen. So I remember when I was diagnosed, I had a seizure during a body attack class, where it's interval training and they raise your heart rate to drop you back down to do some sort of resistance training in between. Then you get up, do a running track to raise your heart rate. Great stuff. Fantastic class. Absolutely love it. Apart from one time when I was doing press-ups on the floor, went to get up, oh dear, seizure happens, and as a way to try and stop myself being embarrassed by having one, I don't really know how I managed to sort of, there's obviously still a little bit of me in my mind trying to pull me back. I don't really know how it works, but tried to get up to start running and I couldn't. I didn't know how, but I managed to get myself out of the room and kind of propped myself against the wall, heavy breathing, and then I don't really remember much else, but I know I went out the gym, forgot my bag, had to go back because I'd forgotten about it, hadn't remembered where the hell I was. And yeah, so that wasn't good. And then there's been times when I've been jogging and it's happened randomly. I was quite happy jogging along, listening to music, and then, oh dear, hang on, hold on to a fence. Oh dear. Usually I do get a warning sign though, so I have a few seconds to try and sort myself out, which I know a lot of people don't even have an aura, which is crazy, and so hope, you know, I'm blessed, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, so that's where my epilepsy and fitness has sort of been a bit Rog McDodge. And I guess at the moment, after feeling a bit peculiar a couple of times when I've been running, I started to remember why I'd stopped running in the first place. So I'm starting to get anxious about it. I'm thinking to myself, it's quite obviously it's a long time to be running, and I don't know if anybody else feels this, but during some classes, such as Body Attack, where you start getting a bit of a buzz off the music and think, yeah, this is awesome, in a kind of a I'm sweating and hating this every moment kind of way, and the adrenaline whooshes up through you, and I think it's the adrenaline that tends to poke me, and that sometimes flips me over the edge. But I don't know if anyone else has ever had the thing of the adrenaline taking over you and that can make it worse. I don't know, but I guess I'm very nervous about doing the Berlin Marathon, but I'm excited to prove to myself that, so what if I have a seizure halfway around? So what? I will just compose myself. Who cares? I think, you know, you have to sometimes push yourself to do things, otherwise you'll never do them. You can't be dictated by your epilepsy. Someone did say to me, and commented on one of my videos the other day, and I just want to clarify this for starters. Firstly, no epilepsy is the same. Secondly, I'm no health professional. I don't know enough about to be able to give you information on how you should and shouldn't do things, and I've never tried to do that. Thirdly, this person said on one of the comments that why would I promote, you know, people cycling? Well, if you have seizures all the time, I wouldn't promote cycling. I cycle because I'm a rule breaker. No, I cycle because I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm very careful with it. Always wear a helmet, as in my eyes you aren't a cyclist unless you wear a helmet. And try to stick to cycle paths. I tend to always go with someone. My husband is my safety blanket. He knows when something's happening, so that's fine. If I didn't feel right, I'd pull over to a safe place and stop. I do have that warning sign, so that's great. But I don't believe you should do anything you're uncomfortable with. I mean, I swim a lot, but I wouldn't necessarily do a long distance swim, say a sea swim or an open water swim, because I don't really know if I'm going to be okay. I did do an open water swim for Blenheim Triathlon, which I was doing to raise money for Epilepsy Research UK. Obviously made it out fine. I was so proud of myself for actually doing something for such a great charity. So, you know, when you push yourself, you can do things. I think it's just kind of weighing up what works for you. Not one thing works for one person, works for another, and so on and so forth. But for all those people having partial seizures, you'll understand that you can still live okay. You just need to adapt. And that's it really. I just wanted to maybe get a conversation rolling about, you know, if you've had any bad experiences like I have when you've been in the most awkward situations when you're doing exercise and you've had a seizure, especially with those with partial seizures who no one can tell that's happening. it is quite, you have to kind of look on the funny side, otherwise, you know, you'd be depressed. And that's how I used to be. And I still get embarrassed now, don't get me wrong. I get very embarrassed when I know one's coming and I can't do anything about it. And I think the more I relax into it, the worse it, the better it is. I don't know if anybody else has that too. Enough of me yapping on. I hope you know, let me know if you're doing any races or anything this year. I'm going to need all the luck in the world to firstly get round Berlin Marathon, and secondly not to have a seizure. But you know, I'm doing something really out of my comfort zone, considering I stopped running altogether after the last one. So this is a huge step. But that's it from me. If you want me to chat about anything else about epilepsy, leave me a comment below and let me know what you'd like to see, and you know, for me to talk to you about, and yeah, we'll go from there. Take care, bye.